What makes a 9-year-old child walk out alone into the freezing darkness? This is the question that has haunted a family, a community, and investigators for over 2 decades. On February 14, 2000, Asha Degree vanished from her bed in the middle of the night, leaving no trace except a few fleeting sightings along a lonely highway. Her disappearance would become one of America's most baffling unsolved mysteries. The Degree family had gone through an ordinary Monday. Dinner together, homework completed, children bathed and tucked into bed by 9 p.m. Harold and Akila Degree checked on their children before retiring, both Asha and her brother O'Brien sleeping peacefully in their shared bedroom. The house on Oak Crest Drive in Shelby, North Carolina, settled into nighttime quiet, rain pattering softly against the windows. By morning, that ordinary peace would shatter into panic and disbelief. The empty bed where Asha should have been, the house undisturbed, no forced entry, no signs of struggle, nothing missing except a child. The piercing sound of the phone calling authorities marked the moment their world changed forever. A Valentine's Day that transformed from a day of love to a day of terror. Then came the witnesses, the only thread of evidence in those crucial early hours. 2 separate drivers, making their way through the rainy pre-dawn darkness, spotted something unthinkable. A small figure walking alone along Highway 18. It was approximately 4 a.m. The temperature had fallen into the 30s. Rain continued to fall. And somehow, inexplicably, a 9-year-old girl moved along the roadside in the pitch-black morning. The driver's accounts matched perfectly. The girl's clothing, her size, her appearance. It was Asha, walking away from her home, away from safety, into uncertainty. But why? Where was she heading? These sightings would become the last confirmed glimpse of Asha Degree, a ghostly image of a child alone on a highway that leads into darkness. The community mobilized with a speed born of desperation. The rain-soaked ground made search efforts treacherous, but hundreds showed up anyway. They spread through sodden woods, calling Asha's name until their voices grew hoarse. They waded through ditches, checked abandoned buildings, knocked on doors. You could see the fear in their eyes, not just for Asha, but for their own children. The FBI arrived, bringing resources and expertise to join the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office. Search dogs tried to pick up scents that the rain hadn't washed away. Helicopters hovered overhead, searchlights cutting through the trees. Divers broke the surface of the First Broad River, finding nothing but cold, murky water. Days of searching turned into weeks of waiting. Hope began to flicker and fade like a candle in the wind. But Asha had vanished as completely as if she'd never existed at all. The investigation pursued every conceivable angle, each one more troubling than the last. Runaway? The evidence contradicted this theory at every turn. Friends, teachers, and family all described Asha as content and well-adjusted, a star on her basketball team who took pride in her academic achievements at Falston Elementary. Her room revealed no signs of planning, no packed bags, no farewell notes. Her parents spoke of a happy child who loved reading and sports, with no reason to flee. Abduction? The highway sightings complicated this theory. She was already outside, already moving away from home under her own power. What happened after those sightings? Did someone take advantage of a vulnerable child alone on a deserted road? Investigators developed psychological profiles, interviewed every person who knew Asha, followed up on every reported sighting. The silence that followed those highway sightings grew more ominous with each passing day. Then came the discovery that turned mystery into nightmare. In August 2001, a year and a half after Asha vanished, a construction worker unearthed a children's book bag wrapped in plastic. The location, a construction site near Morganton, North Carolina, over 20 miles from Asha's home, buried along a remote logging road off Highway 18. When investigators carefully opened it, the contents confirmed their worst fears. A Mickey Mouse purse, a book titled Macduff Comes to Town, and a New Kids on the Block t-shirt, all belonging to Asha Degree. The deliberate burial of these items sent ice through the veins of even the most seasoned investigators. This wasn't an accidental dropping. Someone had taken time to wrap the bag, transport it far from where Asha was last seen, and bury it where it might never be found. The discovery marked a turning point. What began as a missing child case now carried the unmistakable shadow of foul play. The buried bag created a terrible puzzle. How did these possessions travel so far from where Asha was last seen? Who transported them? Was Asha with her belongings when they made this journey, or had someone taken her items separately? The investigation surged forward with renewed urgency. Forensic teams examined every fiber and surface of the recovered items, searching for DNA, fingerprints, any microscopic evidence that might lead to answers. But despite their best efforts, the bag yielded precious few clues. Its remote location told investigators that whoever buried it likely used a vehicle. The distance was too great, the location too isolated for any other explanation. The careful concealment of the evidence pointed to someone making deliberate, calculated decisions. Each answer spawned more questions, and the trail that had briefly flared to life quickly faded again into darkness. The years have marched on, but authorities have remained steadfast. Every lead, no matter how small, has been pursued. Technology has advanced, bringing new forensic techniques to old evidence. Age progression images have shown the public how Asha might look as she grew from child to teen to young woman, her face changing, while the questions about her fate remain the same. These images have appeared on billboards, in post offices, on television specials like America's Most Wanted, and disappeared. The FBI continues to offer substantial rewards for information. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children maintains active files. But despite all efforts, Asha remains just beyond reach, a shadow that refuses to take form, a story without conclusion. For the Degree family, time has not brought healing, only a painful limbo between grief and hope. Each morning brings the same questions. Is she alive? Is she safe? Will today be the day? They've marked birthdays without their daughter, watched her brother grow up without his sister. The ache is visible in their eyes, a wound that refuses to close. They've been adamant from the beginning. Asha would never have willingly left home. Something or someone must have influenced her actions that night. Their dedication remains unwavering. Every year on the anniversary of her disappearance, they walk along Highway 18, retracing those last known steps, reminding the world that Asha is still missing. Their annual vigils have become a community tradition, candles flickering in the darkness, like the hope they refuse to surrender. Their personal tragedy has fueled their advocacy for other missing children, turning pain into purpose while continuing their own search for answers. The details of the case remain as chilling today as they were that Valentine's morning. A child who was afraid of the dark, walking alone on a rainy highway. A bag buried miles away from where she was last seen. A family caught in perpetual limbo. A community forever changed by the knowledge that a child could vanish without explanation. The timing raises countless questions. Why Valentine's Day? Why in the middle of one of the coldest, rainiest nights of the year? Why would a child described as timid and afraid of the dark venture out into conditions that would frighten even an adult? Each question peels back another layer of this confounding mystery, revealing only more questions beneath. The search for Asha Degree continues, a flame that refuses to be extinguished by time or difficulty. Somewhere, someone holds the key to this mystery, knowledge of what happened after those final highway sightings. Someone knows why a child's bag ended up buried in remote woods, wrapped in plastic like a terrible secret. Will that person ever come forward? Will justice find its way through the darkness? The questions echo through the years, as persistent as the hope that refuses to die. The small town of Shelby carries the story in its collective memory. Investigators across agencies keep her case file active. Her family keeps her name alive. And somewhere between the last confirmed sighting and the discovery of that buried bag lies the truth about Asha Degree, the little girl who walked into the darkness of a Valentine's night and vanished from the world, leaving behind America's most haunting, unsolved mystery.